guys? What's up?
What's happening, guys?
What's going on?
We're doing it.
Let's do it again, man. Another episode.
Excited to be here.
Just hey, I'm excited. We got a really special guest today. I've been talking about Carlos Ellingsworth for a couple months now with Julio and wanting him to get on the podcast. Everybody I talk to says, hey, you need to get this guy on. He's a good guy. He has a wide range of expertise in a lot of fields, and just talking to you for a little bit, I can see that. So when we get the opportunity, I'll turn it over to you, do your thing, and we'll let everybody know what you do and how you do it, and we'll let you speak in reference to that. But good to see you guys.
Yeah, it's a good day, man. It's a nice day today. Good to see you.
Nice and cool in here.
It's warm.
Hey, and I gotta give you guys props, man. I love the ambiance. Really.
Thank you. Yeah, everything you see here, I kind of did myself, the background, but yeah, it's okay.
Jack of all trades.
Master of none.
If they invite you to speak, you got to do this, man. Just being in this environment is really cool.
Appreciate that, man.
Thank you.
It's going really well. The podcast, we're at episode 4 now.
Episode 4.
Last podcast, we had some technical difficulties. We fired our engineer, and we got Julio to step in.
Yeah.
But I think we're going to be good this time.
Yeah, I fired myself, and Carlo hired me again.
But how's your guys' week? Anything exciting this week?
Actually fun. This morning, one thing exciting, I finally paid for my non-profit. So I'm getting that going. So
right on, man.
Congratulations.
So yeah, I'm starting a non-profit to, it's going to be called, hopefully if I get the name right, Circular Care Foundation. To be a non-profit raising funds for those who can't really afford, any home care services, any kind of medical devices, wheelchairs, renovations to the homes, anything you can think of. That's one of the, very excited.
Yeah.
How'd you come up with that idea?
Why
to be in that space?
Well, I own a home care agency. So because of my home care agency, when I do my home assessments, there's a lot of families that can't afford my services. Unfortunately, it is a business, and I do have to say no, but I just feel bad because you leave the home and you know that they need it.
Right.
And I looked around, and there's really nothing out there. I mean, there's like, Medicare, Medi-Cal, low-income, IHSS and stuff, but, there's the in-betweeners are stuck. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here for the in-betweeners, I need your service, but I can't afford it, and that's why I can step in. Okay, you can't afford our services, so maybe we'll get a grant for you. You can for 100 hours a week, or you coming out of rehab, people lose limbs and they don't know how to, they can't walk anymore. They need a wheelchair. It's like $20,000 just to put a ramp on your car, So all that's going to be all involved the nonprofit I'm running. So enough about me, but that's
cool, Julio.
But yeah,
that's cool, man.
That's my plus for the day. What about you guys?
What about you, Carlos? Anything exciting this week?
This week, I'd say, honestly, it's getting ready for the upcoming school year. I know we're going to talk about that later, my involvement as a parent with our PTO. But, school year starting in 3 weeks at one school and 4 weeks at the other. So just going through the calendar, seeing all the activities we have planned for the kids. It's going to be a lot of work, but honestly, it's exciting.
It goes by fast, right?
Yeah.
I know we have a lot of teachers that are members in my gym, and they're like, it just felt like we went on vacation like 2-3 weeks ago. Now I'm already having a trap and set up and everything, get ready for the new school year to start.
Yeah. What about you, Carlos?
Me? Well, my daughter had her tooth pulled. She got a cap, so I've been babying her a little bit. She can't eat solid foods right now.
She get some of this, though.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah, she didn't get no money. 230 didn't come. The dentist took that tooth. The dentist got that tooth. But normally her teeth are pretty well. But yeah, she had a back tooth that had to get pulled, extracted, and she handled it like a champ. But now all she's getting is yogurt and soft foods for the next couple of days, and she's dying right now. So that's about it. Just work, regular work, and then hitting the gym. Had a good week in the gym so far. Today's rest day. It's podcast day, so
love it.
It's going by fast. End of July. I know we got August coming up. Yeah, a lot of exciting things coming up.
Yeah, I mean, real quick before we get the next, I think Carlos just released a date for our poker night / UFC night.
That's right.
August 16th. It's out there. Address, location. If you want to know what it is, go ahead and DM Carlos. He'll send you a DM on the address.
What is it? August 16th. August 16th.
Yeah. So
Saturday, August 16th starts at 4. Games will start at 5, and then the fights, of course, the main card starts at 7. So we'll be there all evening.
Yep.
Guys, if you want to pre-register and get your chips early for a discounted price, DM me, email us, text us. We'll get you set up. But it's going to be our next off-campus event for EMT. And it's gonna be pretty fun.
And it is. I mean, it's a fun night, and it is gonna be a fundraising event too. So we're making it, so we have the holidays coming around. So some of those funds, I know the Boys and Girls Club. I know somebody from there. They do the Toys for Tots. They buy. Yeah. So
that's what I want to talk to Carlos about too. He's with Pasadena Tournament Roses. We'll let him get on that. But maybe some future events that we could do there with EMT and the guys, and going helping the city out, and doing some volunteer work and stuff like that. So I wanted to throw that out there as well.
I think it's great you guys are giving back, man. So there's so much need, and also just to get the group of guys as you're doing together out in the community, man. It's powerful, especially for the young men to see you guys out there giving back. That's huge, man.
Absolutely appreciate that. Thank you. That's what we want to do. We do this all with our volunteer time, with just our own money and our own time, and we love it. It's not even when I brought the idea up, I talked to Julio. He was the first person I talked about it, and I didn't even have to finish a sentence, and he was like, "I'm all in.
I'm all in.
I'm all in." He's like, "Whatever you're doing, whatever you want to do, I'm there. I'm all in." And I was like, I was blown back, and then I told a few other people, same thing, and I was like, "Wow, this is really needed," And it's not even work, doing this right here. It's not even work. I look forward to it all week. I was nervous at first, but I was like, what?
I'm still nervous. You might forget a little shinier, but it's all right.
But no, giving back and doing what's, building men up, empowering them, putting your information out there to help other men. Like you said, the youth, our groups, where I'm allowing 15 and over to attend the groups. I want them to go. I know I have sons. You guys have family and stuff like that. I want them to go. I want them to see what it is to have a bunch of guys being positive, being real, being not afraid to be themselves and express themselves, and show them that it's okay to be that way, to be out there and being around a group of guys in a positive setting. And it always doesn't have to be partying with the guys and the homies, or causing trouble or anything like that, or gangs and all that other stuff. It's something where they have a future. They could know how to manage, maybe their emotions or their path in their life, whatever careers they choose, and then they'll build connections.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I made my son go last week. He hated it. He's 17. He was like, "Pops, for real?" I'm like, "Bro, we have a really good speaker. I need you to be there." And we had a long conversation on the ride home, and it was eye-opening, and he actually soaked some of the stuff in, and I was like, "Dude, that's what I want. That's what I want for the other men that have other, building other men and their families and stuff like that." So, yeah, it's good stuff.
I have 3 kids, including 2 boys. They're much younger, but sometimes I already see it. Sometimes they see another male, coach, for example, or teacher, and it just, what they hear, it just resonates more sometimes.
Right.
Or they hear the same thing that dad told them from somebody else. And it just reinforces what you tell.
And sometimes that's what it takes. Like, it takes somebody else, a stranger, to tell them. They're like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
And we can relate to that.
Yeah,
as kids, same thing growing up.
Yeah,
absolutely. We're in our kids' ear every day. They don't care.
And somebody else tells them, and they listen. Right? That's what it's totally. But I mean, it's good. A lot of people, we're on the same page. So when they hear it from multiple avenues, they're like, "Okay, it makes sense."
Absolutely. And that's what I love about this group. It's because, like I tell everybody, we have the full spectrum. We have people that are into politics, into the community, into big major roles in the community, and then we have people that are not there. People that are probably hit rock bottom, and they're starting from scratch, and they maybe don't have the best life and stuff like that. But we all treat them the same. We all give them the same amount of respect. We give them all an opportunity to talk, tell their stories, and maybe my son might listen to somebody other than, the person that's in a suit and tie, and will respect and listen to somebody that's been in a different path, and pick up something. And that's what I love about this group, and that's the reason why we designed it this way, not to just have one straight line. We want everybody to be included,
Yeah, I agree. Well,
good. So, you want to get started?
Yeah, let's get started. So,
all
talk
right.
about us.
So, again, we have a special guest, Carlos Ellingsworth. I pronounced that right. Carlos Ellingsworth.
Ellingsworth. They were asking. I got used to it. Like friends from way back.
Yeah.
They still put an S in my name.
They put an S in it, right?
Yeah.
That was spelled.
It's all good.
It's like
It's all good. Yeah,
so I don't want to
You can say
try to introduce
Carlos.
you what you do
Yeah.
and everything like that, because you do a lot, and that's why I'm so glad you're here. So we'll go ahead and give you the opportunity to take the floor and talk a little about yourself and what you do.
Sure. First of all, Julio, Carlos, thanks again for the invite. I think it's really cool what you're doing, and it's pretty impressive how much time and effort you guys are putting into this to get this type of messaging out, and not just the messaging, but building community.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome, and I'm honored to be invited.
Thank you. for
So I grew up in Montebello. My parents moved to Montebello in the late 80s. Went to school in Monterey Park, and basically found my path to what I do now. Really in college is kind of where the idea, came to my mind that I could do public affairs. Actually, it was a couple male speakers, Latinos in corporate America, that came to speak at Cal State LA to a group of students. And I was there just to support these students, not necessarily to listen to what these guys had to say. And so I made my remarks on behalf of the student body, as student body president. And then I sat back and I just listened for a little bit. And for the first time, I saw someone that looked like me, representing major brands.
Wow.
And they were being paid to be on our campus as executives to speak not about the products, and the brands, but to speak about the company's commitment to youth, to young adults.
Okay.
And just specifically around helping college students find a pathway to career. And when I introduced myself and I found out what they did, I thought, oh, geez, these guys are in public affairs. What is that? Marketing. I mean, I had an idea what that was, but public affairs was the first time I've ever heard of it. So after graduating from college at Cal State LA with my communications degree, I started working in the state legislature, which is state government, and then knew that immediately I wanted to get into public affairs. And so I've been doing public affairs work for 20 years, which is basically...
Define public affairs.
Yeah.
What is that?
To this day, I don't think my parents really understand what I do.
So it's not an affair in public.
No,
It's public affair.
it's public. So my wife actually has a better idea now, but it's taken. We've been together since 20 years ago, right?
Okay.
So it's basically the business of maintaining a corporation or brand or entity's reputation, and also maintaining the relationships with key stakeholders that are in whatever area, geography you're in, or whatever type of industry you're in, knowing the key players, building a relationship with them, and like I said, maintaining the reputation of whatever entity you're representing.
Got it.
So it's a lot of offense, a lot of time building relationships, literally spending time with people, year after year.
That's what I was gonna ask. How do you build relationships? Do you kind of like, are you like, say, hey, do you meet with the CEO? Do you meet with their public relations? Like, how do you build that relationship? Do you guys share marketing thing? Do you guys say, hey, I know there's a lot of like partnerships, right? If I refer somebody to you, you refer somebody to me, or if we look bad in public, you need to, how does that?
Well, it's definitely evolved since I started. And early in my career, and I've talked about this to college students, early in my career, I worked really hard outside of the 9 to 5 to build relationships, whether it was sending a letter after I met somebody, sending an email now, right, these days, but or a lot of events, after 5 o'clock. Granted, I was representing my boss, who was an elected official, so I was going on his behalf to a lot of events and meeting people and exchanging information. And what I tell college students is when you're early in your career, you really want to cast a wide net with who you kind of get to know and bring into your village. But then as you figure out what village you want to be a part of, thinking about who inspires you and who you aspire to be, you start to hone in on who you spend the time with, who your village is. So now I don't do as much of the evening and weekend stuff as I used to. I'll send an occasional text message or short email if I've met somebody new, but it's now I have a well-established network or village. So now it's oftentimes it's just text messaging somebody, hey, happy birthday. Or hey, I saw you posted that your daughter, lost her tooth, and how's she doing? It's just checking in on those very light things.
Yeah.
Definitely not reaching out when I need something, and then also not keeping score. So it's hard because and again, I'm not in business. I'm not in sales, so I don't but I am in the business of partnerships. So if I have a friend that I know is with a large corporation that has a budget that's got a strong brand and maybe has an interest in supporting this type of community program, I'll put together a deck. I'll give them a call or send them a text message, and I'll set up a time to talk with them in person or over lunch or whatever. And because I already know what they care about and we have a relationship, it's a very easy conversation to have. It's not a tough conversation. If it's a no on this one, it's okay. Maybe the next time we talk, you might have something for me, and I'll say yes to you.
Yeah.
So it's a marathon. It's definitely a marathon, and but it takes time early on. If you're in like early stages of your career, you got to really work it. You got to really work it in your own way.
Got it.
In your own way, not necessarily the way that I did, but thinking about how you, if it's in the gym, talking to somebody you're working out with, you're not going to say, "Hey, I'm looking for a job," the first time you meet somebody.
Yeah.
Build a relationship, and then ask them what they're working on.
Right.
Find out, the things that they do. Make sure that they understand you're not in line for a job. You're in line to do the work to be considered for the job.
Right.
So those types of things, it just takes time and patience, and everybody who's part of your village means and brings something different to you.
That's interesting because you bring up a point. So right now, I'm in the gym and then starting this. I didn't have social media. I was a ghost for I want to say 40 years of my life. I didn't have anything. And I refused to have anything. I got over COVID, I got TikTok, and it got me through COVID because I see all that funny stuff on there. But now that I have the gym and the members there and trying to build up the gym and its reputation, and then doing this and trying to build a base and get members in, I see it's a lot of relations, and stuff like that. And what's going off from what you're talking about, what's been really difficult with me over the last couple months is the rejection, I guess. I don't know if it's rejection. It's more of everybody wants to be a part of it when they see it, but when the work comes or when it comes to, hey, we're doing this, we're doing that, and they're not there, they don't respond, it's really kind of defeating, you know what I mean? Especially when it comes to like close people that you've had relationships with. Do you see that a lot, and how do you get through that? How do you maneuver those relationships and work past that? Do you just avoid it and move on to something bigger and better, or so just keep grinding, Because I was talking to him about this the other day, and it sucks. Everybody wants to be on board, but when it comes down to it, and we're putting out the offers, we're putting out the invitations to everybody, especially close friends and stuff like that, and then it's not reciprocated.
I would say if every relationship and like the dynamic you described, I think you handle each one sort of differently, because there's dynamics that may be different with one individual, one relationship. Like you can't cut them off, maybe necessarily, but if you can, if there's a pattern, I would say, you probably can spend your time in a better way. And it's nothing against the individual. It's just, you have limited time to focus on the things that are your priority. And sometimes, it does mean, moving on, wishing the best for someone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But just moving on and focusing on your end goal. And so sometimes I've had to do that. Not a whole lot. I think, in my work, it is a little different. I mean, I'm in the business of like public affairs, which is like, being available. I always take a call from anybody, really. And sometimes you do come across somebody who's only calling you when they need something.
Yeah.
But I'll take the call,
It's hard.
and it's hard because you got the things that you want to focus on and are important to you, and you're out trying to get people on board, and when it's a good friend and they don't come through, it's tough when it's a passion project for you, but you just gotta sometimes move on, or in some cases, if there's a way to keep them in the mix, but you just know you're not going to be able to count on them.
Yeah. Have you had a situation where you're like, oh man, you're like, I need this partnership. I know it means a lot to my corporation or the family I'm with, and you just get shut down. Like, have you ever had that situation? I mean, if you did, how did you handle it? Because I know it has to be tough, right? You do your homework, you research, you call. Because I do. I mean, I same thing with me. I have a lot of leads that I call, and they don't answer. You text them, you email them. After a while, you're like, what's going on? I know it's not me. They're not even picking up. I mean, how do you deal with rejection? I mean, do you get rejection?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's like almost like baseball. If you're hitting 300, I mean, that's
you just keep on. Okay.
That's pretty good.
That's a great analogy. If you're batting 1,000, you're 10
I mean,
10,
who's batting 1,000?
Who's batting 1,000? Yeah,
I guess.
But
I love that.
I think you just have to, and you guys, you probably do this. You've got your list, of who you think may bite on what you're proposing. I do the same thing. I've got community programs that I've designed, and then with my team, once it's designed and up and running, every year getting it better and better. They do the development, right? Once it's up and running, and I'm always thinking about who else can I bring on board, or if we're going to lose a sponsor, partner, who's next on my list. So and you're always cultivating relationships. Trying to get people to come out and see the work. There's no pressure. I'm not asking you for anything. Just come out and see the work. And the work that I do, that's been something I've tried to do over time. And just sit down with me and let me share a PowerPoint deck, and you can kind of give me feedback on your interest, or come out and if you can see the work happening in the community, meet the youth that we're working with, for example. The work sells itself oftentimes, most of the time.
Well, you're selling it. You're selling yourself. Yeah.
Well, it's it's a privilege to be able to have represented, the brands that I've worked with. Currently, the Tournament of Roses. Everyone knows it's the Rose Parade and Rose Bowl game.
Yeah.
It's an iconic blue chip brand. And then prior to that, Coca-Cola,
right?
Albertsons, Vaughn's Pavilions, and then working for the state legislature. It's been a great career journey. I've met so many great people all over the country and the world, and I'm basically, my role is to stir the pot of goodwill, relationships and programs, resources. I'm just constantly stirring the pot, and then when there's something that sticks, when there's like synergy, like, oh wow, like this person wants, has this, interest, or this funding, or this organization has this group of people that they're serving, the youth, young men or young ladies, or sports, thinking through who do I know in my pot that I'm stirring that might have an interest in connecting, and it's usually a very natural thing. I'm just connecting folks.
That's great.
And ultimately, it all benefits the community. I'm basically paid to give back.
To give back, yeah. So I was thinking right now in my head, like, you're doing a lot of this, but you're getting paid for it,
right?
Right. So that's a driving motivator. But you have to have the passion to, just like how we do, to be able to continue to do that. Because, like you said, you probably do face a lot of rejection. You do face a lot of, all right, on to the next one and things of that nature. Do you also get a lot of negative calls and feedback, because it's
not so much in this role, but in previous roles, working for very large, food and beverage companies, especially, in the retail space, we have 300 plus stores and, 36,000 employees and, distribution centers and thousands of products, on the shelves. Yeah, I get a lot of calls, and my job was to take the calls or take the emails and take the letters, and mostly people just want to be heard.
Right.
Yeah. And I've learned to not be quick to judge, to really listen intentionally, and even if you can't resolve the issue, letting somebody know you hear them out, and we're going to try our best to make it better. and sometimes even telling somebody if there's a request to support something, support a donation, we can't do everything, right? So telling someone no, but I value your work, what you're doing, and please don't hesitate to reach out to me again. Should there be another opportunity, or I'm going to take your information down, and if something comes up where we have an opportunity to support something in your geography or in the work you do, I would reach out to you, and I would take the time to keep track of everybody I'm meeting, and whether it was a complaint, and how do we make it better, or a request from the community that we cannot support, but maybe down the line we could do something. Sometimes making those calls were the best calls, because remember me? I told you we weren't ready to do this, and it just wasn't the right timing. Well, guess what? I've got something for you.
Yeah.
And they're amazed that you remembered me, you called me back, and so that's, again, I'm paid to do that. I'm not doing that as a volunteer.
Yeah.
But it's basically understanding, like I said earlier, it's a marathon. This is a very long-term thing, not a sprint.
Yeah.
And it might be no right now, or you may be telling me no right now.
Yeah.
But the next time we talk, it might be a yes.
But not only that, it's just building relationships, right? That's what you're doing. You're building relationships, and that's one thing you have to do, because you just never know. You do something right today, tomorrow, and then out of nowhere, next thing you know, something happens to you, or somebody, hey, this person called me. I told Carlos all the time, you do something good, it's gonna come back. I give my hats down to Carlos a couple of days ago. He gave some shoes away to somebody out of nowhere, and I was like, dude, that's good. That's,
yeah, you never
it
know.
comes back to you. It always does.
It absolutely. You never know the impact you're having, and I'll just give one example. That example, for one, you don't know what kind of impact you're going to have on that individual, right? You may know some point they may run into you and tell you what that meant. And I have one example: a young man or a gentleman that's a colleague of mine at another company had a son with special needs, and they were having a hard time finding a job for him. So I ended up facilitating, his application and an interview. He got hired, and he was having issues with being late back from his break. And so ultimately, what I helped HR figure out was to set his watch a little earlier, so that he would be notified to start walking back after his lunch break. And so because of that, he was able to maintain his job. And his dad, years later, I forgot about that. Right. We were talking about something, and he reminded me, and he said, my son's still working there.
Oh, wow.
And he's just so grateful. Now, I had nothing at that time to ask for, but it meant so much to him that I took the time not only to help facilitate his application and interview, but, helped find a solution with our HR partners on something that was very simple. And
some of the biggest things are literally simple.
That's exactly right. And you don't have to do it just if it's part of your job. Doing it on your own time. In fact, I think that's even more powerful when you do it on your own.
I agree.
Yeah.
But I'll get
it's a huge impact, man.
Yeah, do it yourself. Back to your public affair that you do on. Aside from corporation building, relationship. Do you like build relationship with just the community itself? What are some of the things that you do with the community, if you do, that you kind of say, hey, I don't know, I go to job posting. I know you guys have the Rose Parade. Do you have can people sign up? Because I know I did the Rose Parade when I was in Cerritos High School in 2000.
Date yourself.
You were in the.
I did part of. No,
band?
not in the band. I did one of the.
You decorated. Okay.
Yeah, so that was fun. What are some of the programs that you're working on right now?
It's what's funny, and I'm going to answer your question. What's funny though is that when I tell people I work for the Tournament Roses or the Rose Parade and the Rose Bowl game, they're like, "Oh, that's really cool." They're like, "Well, what do you do for the rest of the year?"
That's what I was thinking right now in my head. I was like, "What do you do the rest of the year?"
That's the number one question I get. Because everyone assumes that all that comes together in 2 weeks, right?
Right.
I mean, come on, how long is
planning?
But it actually, that is a year-round effort. It does pick up, the second half of the year. I would say definitely about the last quarter. But our work, the community work, is throughout the year. Okay. And our job, basically, our team's job is to leverage the brand of the tournament, the Rose Parade, the Rose Bowl game, and our our others, our biggest asset, our strongest asset is our 935 tournament members that are volunteers.
Wow.
So leveraging the brand and leveraging that asset to get back to the community year round, to be visible. We want America and the world to tune in, if they're not with us in Pasadena, to tune in on New Year's Day, right? To have that experience and celebrate a new year. But we want our local community to see us and feel our presence throughout the year. So, so the types of things that we do, we have, we participate in a lot of community programs, Pasadena Black History Parade and Festival, Latino Heritage Parade and Festival, San Gabriel Valley Pride. We host a reception at the tournament house for that. We host a lot of receptions at the tournament house for partners. We have a community open house every year, which is really cool. We open up the tournament house and the tournament grounds for the community. At the end of the day, our mission is about bringing the community together. I mean, sure, it's about entertaining for sure, but
of course,
ultimately it's bringing the community together. So that open house is another example. We put out hors d'oeuvres and we have entertainment. We offer scholarship programs through the tournament. We have an 8-month paid fellowship program for PCC students, 2 students. We have, I mentioned the scholarship program already. We have programs on STEM. We support teachers with teacher grants. We've helped redo school media centers. We've, during COVID, supported food delivery. We've just kind of, we do a lot, and it's really just about being, like I said, really being visible throughout the year. And then also, I would say really importantly, making sure that the community, the diverse community, sees our diverse members in places and spaces that maybe they would be surprised to see us at. And hopefully they want to engage with the tournament. Hopefully they want to become a member, or they want to come out and volunteer to decorate like you did. One of the best things I hear is when we invite somebody to the tournament house, or we go to the community at a park for an event, and they say, "Oh wow, I've never been to the tournament house."
Yeah.
Or I've never seen the tournament here. Or I've never been to the Rose Bowl Stadium. That's like a special thing. Absolutely. And then New Year's Day is incredible.
Well, the house is like the White House. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful house, and it's a community space. The leadership.
Is it really? I didn't know that. I thought it was like members only kind of thing. It's so nice, manicured, big lawn. White House.
So the surrounding area is actually a public park.
Okay. Wow.
And then the actual tournament house, we've really strived to invite community partners and partner and bringing in just different organizations that are doing good work.
Man, I love this. Let us know. Let us know what we can help with.
Yeah, we have
we'll set up some
plenty of volunteer opportunities, especially towards the end of the year.
Yes.
The decorating. We could do the decorating.
Yeah, I know decorating too.
It's just different. You're there, you see the big, huge, and you're just like, oh my goodness, how do you get all these rows on it? And this structure, you guys have a great structure. I mean, it's been years, but I just remember you have to put them here, and this one goes there, and then it's good.
I think
it's a good event. I love it.
We have thousands of volunteers that help out at the end of the year, and then our tournament members that are volunteers, they contribute about 80,000 hours a year to put on the New Year's celebration. So
yeah, we're down to jump on some floats, help out. I'm from Duarte, and Duarte, I don't know if you're familiar. There's a big warehouse there that they house like a few of those floats year round, and we would go and volunteer and put all the everything right there off of everything in Duarte too. So I'm familiar with that. I want to get back to you. When we had a conversation earlier in the week, you're asking what the podcast is about. You heard my story. You heard a couple of the shows and stuff like that. And what interested me a lot about you was your path to where you're at, how you got to your career, and being a man, and the type of work you do and the environment you do. What motivated you, and what was your focus, and what helped you navigate yourself from being a young man, an adolescent, to where you're at now? Because you're doing amazing things. Your hand is in so many great things that impact the community and impact cities, literally cities. Pasadena is one of the biggest cities in California and in the nation, and you are directly impacting a lot of this stuff, and it's amazing. So I know you told me I don't have really like a tough childhood, grow up story that people are gonna have. Like, we don't always want to hear that.
Yeah.
We want to know what motivated you, where you came from, and how you got there. So share a little bit about that.
Yeah, Carlos. So, I think when I was in college, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do. I thought about maybe initially becoming a sports doctor or something.
Okay.
Then I thought, maybe that's just, too much, like, nursing, and I don't know, biology. So I thought education. My mom and dad were public school teachers.
Okay.
And I called my dad. My dad's like, asked my dad, what do you think? And he says, I think you got to find your own path. And I'm like, I don't know what that means, but okay. So after like soul searching and switching from a nursing major, which I never took a nursing class, but I was a nursing major. I switched to English, then I switched to communications, got involved in student government, and it began to be a little more clear, like service, leadership, but it wasn't like in a traditional way, like a teacher, right? I mentioned earlier how I met these two, saw these executives presenting, and I started to think about public affairs. But really, when I think about it, my upbringing playing sports taught me teamwork, taught me.
What did you play?
I played mostly baseball, but I played a lot of basketball, football, a little bit of soccer, roller hockey. I was like year round.
Okay.
My mom and dad, like, were driving around always. My brother and I practice. They finally cut off soccer because it was
too much.
It was in Alhambra.
Yeah, it's loud.
So I don't know how they did it. Honestly, they were always together, which was crazy. Like, I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know how
Me
they
and
do
Sarah,
that.
we're like,
No.
people don't even believe she has a husband. Once in a while, she's like,
No, man. Same
like,
here.
No, I really do.
No, same here. I coach.
a lot of work.
I coach one kid.
Absolutely.
And my players, they don't ever see my wife and my other two kids. So then when they finally meet them, like, oh, I didn't know you had another kid or two. Like, yeah, I have 3 kids. So I get it, man.
Yeah.
So it was really thinking back. My mom and dad as teachers, I always saw them giving back at the dining table, doing their lesson plans, talking about the kids in their class, the struggles. They taught in East LA, so a lot of the kids had a lot that they were going through. So they would talk at the dinner table about their kids. And
You said East LA?
yeah.
That was that Edward James almost era right there, right?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
The movie came out.
and I didn't think about it then, but as I think about it now, I'm like, you know what? I was listening. They were talking about their kids, not us. Their students, and they were concerned. And then you take my college experience of being a student leader, my degree in communications, and my faith. I would say too. I went to Bosco Tech, very much influenced by the Salesians, giving back, very youth focused. Order.
That's great.
And you mash it all together, and it just kind of led me to this very niche work. And to be honest, I'd be doing this work even if I was doing something else. If I was an engineer, let's say, I would still be doing work like this in the community on my own time, much like you guys. I'm a commissioner with the city of Whittier. I've coached youth, baseball, softball. So I've chaired nonprofit boards. So even if I wasn't doing it professionally, it's in my DNA.
Yeah.
Right.
And like you guys, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. I just happen to not only just do it on my own time, but I do it, professionally.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Carlos the other day. We were talking, and I was like, you know what? I think I found my niche because, I've been working, I've been in the aerospace field for 20 years. And now that I have this business and now that, I've done a lot of volunteer work, I've been back to the community, to the kids. It just feels good. It's different, right? When you're
really good,
yeah,
yeah.
especially when you give your time, you're not getting nothing in return, and you see the faces and you see the smiles and you see that you're making a change. Even if it's the smallest thing, you're like, this feels right. It feels good.
And you never say when you're in your lane, when you're exactly where you're supposed to be. Like I always tell my team like we never say like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah.
No, we get to do
You
this.
get to it. Absolutely.
And it's a privilege to
That's what you
have
get in
that
return.
opportunity,
It
man.
might not be financial or anything like that, but it's filling you as a human. You know what I mean? It's filling that need that you know, a lot of us that we get a little taste of that, and it's like, man, that made me feel good. You know, and like I said in the last podcast, back in the day, a lot of people thought you were selfish if you felt that, and you were prideful for that. You know what I mean? And I hate that. I hate that was a thing, and that's a fact still to this day, where because you're promoting yourself, doing good for other people look at you like, oh, why are you gonna be, you know, bragging about it? Why do you have to put it out there? And it's like, man, why don't you get up and do something for somebody? Maybe this world would be a little bit better of a place if you jump on board and you get out there and, you know, put those boots on and go help out those are less fortunate. You know, what I mean?
True.
Make you feel better. You know?
That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get these men jump out of their comfort zone, right? Because we're manly, man, right? We're macho. We don't do anything. We just smoke and drink and get. I try to, that's why I try to tell these men at our meeting that we had. It's like, we just try it. Just try it once and you'll see. When you see that phase, it doesn't matter what it is. You see that small change that you made it happen, you can be like, okay, this is something different. And you have to go through it. You can't just, talk about it.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a pretty special thing you guys are doing. You don't find many places and spaces where you can have that open dialogue, as men. And it's also hard to just find the time. I mean, finding the space is hard. But then the time, we're all busy. So the fact that you're bringing this out to the community, that folks can tune in on their own time, it's huge. That's what I did. I was in my patio. I listened to your second podcast. I was just sitting back there just to get a feel.
The one with bad audio.
The second one was good.
I thought it was good. I didn't see the first one.
Okay.
It wasn't that bad. You were
working on it.
He's a perfectionist.
Fingers
I'm like,
crossed.
it looks good. Let's go.
Fingers crossed on this one. Read and record. We're good.
No, it's awesome, man. I think I am very passionate about our youth. Anybody who's worked with me would say that. I've been on several nonprofits and serving youth and in particular, I would say also young men. I mean, I have a daughter and 2 boys, but I think when I get to speak to young men, it always feels really extra special because it doesn't happen as often as it should. When you're doing this or you're out in the community. I know some of your stories, and sometimes those young men don't have another male figure or a positive one.
Absolutely.
In their life. Fortunately, I did. My dad was always around.
That's why I was excited because I'm like, you're a different part. We all have our own stories, you know what I mean? Everybody's different, and it just shows where people could end up, and it's not taking the same path. You know what I mean? And that's what I didn't get to see that part in my life. A stable home, my mom and dad together, guiding me the right way, seeing them doing stuff productive in the community and stuff like that. And I always talk to my wife about, man, I wonder where I would be if I had that type of upbringing, if I had that type of life. You know what I mean? It took me a long time to get where I'm at. Now I'm by no means am I successful or anything like that, but I'm totally different from who I was. But just imagine if I did have that upbringing. So that's why and I seen the other end. I have best friends that were raised with a great family. They had money, they had everything. It doesn't
always work out.
And they were the most destructive human beings possible. My best friend turned to drugs, stealing, locked up, and just bad story. And I used to tell him, like, bro, like, I do bad things to get where you're at. I'm out hustling to get what you have. You have all that already. Why are you taking a step back to do all this bad stuff to get there? You know what I mean? So it's baffling. That's why
it's like I always kind of equated to like dominoes. Do you guys play dominoes as a kid? Like, it's like that first one that, like, once you get that first domino going, either in a positive direction or in a negative one,
right?
After that first one goes, it's going. Yeah. So my dad was the first to go to college, and that created a domino effect for all of my uncles and aunts and my mom followed my dad, and my mom's family also got their educations. My dad made the conscious decision, and my uncles, to not join gangs when many in the neighborhood did.
Especially in that area.
Stella, so I don't, and you're right. Sometimes, the next generation, takes that for granted and makes wrong decisions, and that has happened with folks.
And
we all know that.
And somebody needs to break that chain.
Hey, that's what it is, man. That's what I was going to say. That's what I was going to say. Like you talked about your story. You're breaking that chain. and
Still trying.
and I'm just hoping my kids, you don't know, our kids, they're young. You can do the best you can, and they're going to make their own decisions, right?
It's scary because the guy we had at our, the therapist we had at our meeting this past weekend had a chart, and one of the factors of going in the bad direction is having everything.
Yeah.
Giving you're saying yes to your kids all the time and everything. I'm like,
yeah, I'm a firm believer.
Ooh, man.
I'm a firm believer, and you guys, I think, are too. From what I've heard in the other podcasts, I think you gotta keep your kids hungry.
Yeah.
I think we all, or at least I jump when like my daughter says, "Dad, can you help me with this?" The other night, "Dad, can you brush my hair?" Because she cut her finger, I think, or something. So I said, "Yeah, I'll brush your hair." So I stopped what I was doing immediately. But also, like, sometimes it's like, can we have this? Can we have that? You're like, you know what? Somebody was it here? Somebody I know does the same thing. Oh, you got money in your account.
Yeah.
You have money in your account. You can buy that if you want. So, but you got to keep them like hungry, and you gotta keep them working.
That's a great
for
point.
something.
My son, he's my older son. He's 27 now. He's in the Air Force. He's doing great. But growing up, he played football and he played baseball, and he was a really great football player in Orange County. He was probably, I think, top 3rd defensive end in Orange County, and when he was his academics were the greatest. He couldn't get academic scholarships to go to college, and I told him from there, like, dude, you got to do that. He did it. He graduated, but his direction changed. We went to JUCO for a little bit, and on that point, he would work out during season, but he wouldn't work out, and I would try to get him in the gym and work out. And he's like, "Pops, I got it. Like, when I get there, I'm like one of the best ones. Like, I'm good, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Bro," I was like, "You have it easy. What's your hunger? You have kids that are from the inner city, that are from nowhere, that this is their hunger right here. This is getting them out of the hood. Their parents have, ingrained in them. If you don't make it, we're not surviving." That's what they're fighting for. They're working out every day in the off season, on season, 2-a-days and stuff like that. What's gonna drive you? Where's your hunger and passion coming from? So trying to keep that, in our kids, it's difficult, especially when, they have, just about everything these days. And these days it seems like they do,
It's tough. I think as parents, as fathers, we want to give our kids more than what we have, and not necessarily material, but it's the love, the attention, and sometimes that is getting them something, right? Sometimes it is, they worked hard, okay, we'll get that for you. But you have to do the best you can to balance that out.
Yeah, I agree.
And I mean, to the point about your son, I think, one of the things I believe in is hard work will always, outwork talent. You gotta give it your all. You gotta be willing to put that extra effort, and I would say in my career in particular, I didn't go to an Ivy League school. I'm proud to go to Cal. I went to Cal State LA. Got a great education there. A lot of hands-on teaching. We have a lot of grit as alumni. So I'm really proud to have been able to do what I do professionally. I didn't go into crazy debt, which allowed me to provide for my family. Now, but these days, it's hard. Kids, got a lot of things. Everyone's walking around with cell phones and
it's a different world.
Devices.
It's a different world. It's but you still have to show them to be rough. I mean, I have my 2.5-year-old. I think I'm a little bit too rough with her. My wife tells me she's still a baby. She falls. I look at her and she gets up. Sometimes she wants something. No, I might be a little bit rough to her, but I'm kind of
you're molding her.
Yeah, I got to mold her. I said, but I love her. Valentine's Day, flowers. She's still a baby, but you just have to show them what a man is, and you got to make them tough. I think women might be a little, girls, it's hard. You got to make them a little bit tougher because it's
scary, man.
It's scary. Yeah. It's a scary world. Just going to the stores. You see all these. You got to protect yourself. So it's a scary world. You
guys are doing the right thing.
You got to show them the ins and the out, and just
doing the work early on, building that relationship with your kids, with your daughters, for example. I can totally relate.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference.
Your boys they're older than your daughter?
They're younger. So our daughter,
Oh, really?
she's
Okay.
12,
She's 12,
13, going into 7th grade.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
The boys
Good
are
luck.
9 and 7. You know what's actually really interesting
Oh, that's good.
is
That's
I was
good.
really for those of you with kids at, like going into middle school, like it can be really nerve-wracking, and with a daughter in particular, it can be really nerve-wracking. I was nervous, you know. It actually went a lot better than I thought it would go. And I would say the work that you're putting in early on, building the relationship, even if it's like rough housing, like still you're building that relationship.
Yeah.
In my experience, it's gonna help open up those lines of communication
Absolutely.
during a stage like middle school where, you know, maybe other girls are not comfortable talking to their dads.
Yeah.
And you need that.
Yeah,
100%.
I was shocked. I mean, my daughter came to me about some stuff, nothing major, but still like trusting in me. And she talks to her mom. Mom's always, you know,
Yeah.
like
Number
option
one.
number one,
Yeah,
right?
number one, yeah.
But yeah, she's talked to me, and you know, completely opposite from what I've heard, you know, from others about their experience with their kids or their daughters. You know, they
Yeah.
shut down, and then you know they come back later in life. You know, but yeah, man, you know, I think I mean, watching the podcast last one, I think you guys being open books with your kids, you know, I try to do the same, balancing that, you know, sometimes it's a no and it's a tough love.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like, absolutely, let's talk, and then, you know.
Yeah, I think that open communication. I think we're building the mold for what they're gonna expect to return when they get into those relationships at an older age. You know, I want to get my daughter prepared for everything, for real life scenarios, and like I said before, my wife could be the rainbows and unicorns, the real life. You know, and being an open book and opening up that communication, let them know, hey, man, I'm nobody to judge anybody, babe. Like, my life, this is the things that I did. I'm not proud of a lot of them, but I learned, this is what I've learned. This is what you need to look out for. She used to be like, dude, my dad gave me the respect to be able to explain what he went through, the good and the bad.
Yeah.
You know, I know if these situations come up, he's told me about these things, or if I don't know, I feel comfortable going to him because I know he fucked up a lot. You know, he's the last person that's going to judge me. You know, he's going to give me the tools I need to be either get through these situations or help me get through it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that's my main goal. And sometimes I can be too honest and open, but no regrets. You know, like it was my life. You know, that's what I've been through. You know, and I think when you hide a lot of that stuff, and I'm not going to tell anybody how to parent their kids. You know, again, I'm not a therapist. I've never done any family counseling or anything like that, but. You know, however everybody wants to raise their kids, that's up to them. Just me personally, being always open and honest with my kids is just showing them what real life is about. And sometimes life can suck, you know, and fucking life can hit you hard, you know. And,
fast, out of nowhere.
And if
Things
all they know is
happen
just
fast.
happiness and, you know, the rose-colored lenses over their eyes, you know, when shit hits the fan, you know, they're going to be lost.
They don't know what to do.
Yeah.
They're going to go on YouTube to find out what's going
Or they're
on.
gonna ask that bad friend who just gives you all those bad ideas, and you know it's gonna be a train wreck. So that's good that you have that open relationship, and I think you know that comes from, you know, I think my communication with my kids is way better than my communications with my wife, and you know, it's something I could work on and everything like that. But yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good stuff.
Well, basically, I mean, I think we're, you know, obviously a lot more mature than we were, like in high school, right?
Some of us.
So, well, I think we all,
Let's learn that in the comment section. It starts up on this.
we all, you know, I didn't make perfect decisions, certainly, like, you know, and, you know, there were times in my life where I made decisions to, like, not be at a certain location or with a certain group of friends, and with just my gut, you know, and again, you know, everyone has trials and tribulations, and then sometimes you just, you know, you go with your gut, you know, on something, and it puts you in a different path.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say, you know, it's the bounce that counts.
Yeah. And you always have to learn.
Explain that.
You know,
Sorry. The
you
bounce that counts.
you may fall, you may fall, you know, on this or that, you know, whether it's personal life, family life, career, you know, you know, little things might not go your way, and it feels like it's like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do? You know, you just gotta pick yourself up and move on, and
So like the bounce
and
back.
that bounce back is
I like that.
you know, what counts. And I always also tell people that, you know, treat everybody with respect, whether they are, you know, entry level in your workplace, in your industry, or C-suite, because you never know. Well, first of all, it's the right thing to do, but you also never know where folks are going to end up.
Right.
And I've got plenty of friends that came up with me or were in a role starting off, and you know, they're now in leadership roles, and you know, it's the same relationship. We're both in just different positions. They may be in Congress and I'm doing what I do, or they may be a mayor and or CEO, and you know, we have the same relationship we did 20 years ago.
Yeah, and back to your, I love that bounce that counts.
That counts. I love that.
The whole time you were talking about the bounce that counts, I was like, what is my bounce that counted for me? And I could probably nail it down to where it happened to me. I'm pretty sure this is when it happened. I was living with my buddies, and I had, you know, no money to eat. Literally had no money, negative bank account. Nobody supported me, and I think I had a cup of noodles and a sandwich, like in 4 days. I'm not lying to you, because there was nobody there, and I think that hit hard. It was probably one of those, like, you know, I can't do this to myself. And I think that it probably wasn't the bounce that counts, but maybe it was the bounce that started the count. You know what I mean? I think from there, like other small, maybe bigger, small bounces that kind of led to that situation of me, you know, saying, you know, that, you know what, that's enough. That's enough of this. You know, kind of that might have sparked my, you know, I need to make more money. I need to make different moves and go from there. I think everybody should have a you know, balance. If you don't have it, it's gonna come.
It's gonna come.
It's gonna slap
and
you.
I'll give you one short example. I was in line for a promotion to become a director, and I applied. I was a finalist, and this is something I've shared with others, so it's not like going to be like a shock to folks that tune in. I've shared it with my team, and even the gentleman that was selected for the role before me. So I was not selected for the director role of public affairs, and I was devastated because that was kind of like what I wanted to really do, and would have really changed the trajectory of my career, of what I could do for my wife. You know, we didn't have kids at the time, but we were just kind of getting established and wanting to buy a house and just kind of get really grown up, right? So I didn't get the job, and I was really bummed. But I chose to basically make the new director, who was coming in from outside of the company, to make him his success my priority.
Okay.
So I told him, I said, that's exactly what I told him. I said, your success now is my top priority. And so I just did all the work that I was doing and then some. I set him up for success. I let him be the one to present and be the director, and you know, be the one that was visible, basically giving him the credit for the work.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't concerned about the credit. I was really concerned. My priority was his success and the work, the community impact. And so after 6 months, he actually decided to run for public office, and I was kind of back running I was now back sort of officially running a lot of the programs. So, but the second time around, I got the promotion. So,
Dude, that's awesome. That's if you guys didn't hear that feeds into what's going on. I think a collapse in business and society right now, especially after COVID, a lot of people are turning anti-hard work. What I mean by that is I'm seeing a lot of stuff like on social media and stuff like that. Like, why am I going to do that person's job? Or somebody's coming in from the outside to get in this promotion. I'm not getting paid for it. I'm not going to do that extra work. The old school mentality is what you have, is that old school mentality, like, I'm going to show what I have to offer. I'm going to take a step back and help put somebody up and show that hard work that I have, with the hopes of getting, recognized and getting that end goal of, where you want to be at.
And even if you don't hope for it,
Yeah.
it will come to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to hope, you just do the hard work.
I mean,
and
this
it
guy,
comes to
this
you.
guy's director, who we stay in touch, we became friends, and he was my biggest supporter. Before he left the company, he told the leadership, the president, like, this guy's got to be your next director. And the president, was my biggest advocate, telling the corporate team, Carlos is already doing the job.
Yeah.
Like, there's no doubt he's already doing it. So, and I never would have guessed that after 6 months, this guy's a great guy, he's super talented. I wanted him to do well. I would have never guessed that he would have chosen his path was leading him in a different direction. And I wasn't concerned about that. I was, like you said, just like do the work and not worry about who gets the credit. And it was a really tough thing to not get the promotion the first time.
When you said that,
I was devastated, man. Devastated, And when I got it, I drove to my wife's, at the time, she was working for Disney, and I walked over with the letter. I drove over, I showed her the letter, and the offer letter, and she couldn't believe it. It was like one of the biggest moments of my career.
Nice.
And from that point on, I mean, that really was the bounce. Like were there little hiccups, after that? Like, absolutely, career journeys are always, they're not a straight path for most. But that was the game changer that propelled everything else. So there might be something that goes wrong here or there, today or tomorrow, but because of that moment and the work I was able to do in my 9 years with the company and in that role, it just, I got to know so many people and generate so much goodwill that till this day has given me that village that I can always call and say, hey, I could use your help for something. Or, literally, they may call me and say, Carlos, we've got $1 million in gift cards for the fires. Giving you recommendations on how to give these gift cards out to the Pasadena, Altadena area. And I'm like, you know what? Why don't you give those gift cards to us for groceries? And you trust me as a friend and former colleague. I know my community. I know the community. We'll take care of it. We'll help you. We'll get these gift cards out. And I did. And so it takes a lot of time and effort. But in your own worlds, in your own spaces, whether it's your business or your gym, or you have your own circles, your own villages that people go to for you. Like, they go to you because they know you're the go-to for this,
Yeah,
for that.
I agree.
It's the same idea. It's just, it's, for me, it's in the world of giving back.
Right.
I'm just the connector, basically.
Man, that hit home. I like that. Out of everything spoken today, that right there, that journey, that bounce right there that you had, and I know what it feels like being in the corporate world for so long. I've applied for many positions and focused my career. My career wasn't in banking or in business like that. When I'm an artist, I got my degree in graphic design, stuff like that. So I got that job originally just to pay the bills. I was on my own since I was 16. I had work. I had my son at that time. I'm like, shit, I can't sit there and just do internships for a year and hopefully get a job at like a company I want to work for. But being in the corporate world, I went through many interviews because I was like, let me focus on that. I'm gonna move up the ladder in this industry. And seeing people being hired from, outside of your department or whatever, and you're like, man, I'm already doing the job. It's like a punch in the face. It can hurt. Especially the role that you're going for. That was like kind of your end game, that your goal. From what I could tell, that's where you wanted to be at. That was your, and then you still being able to be man enough to say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna put my pride to the side. I'm gonna go ahead and do the work. I'm gonna show where my value is. And I'm gonna keep grinding, and then hopefully, they see that, they recognize that, and then sure enough, 6 months, man, you didn't even have to wait a year, 6 months, and it was like,
I couldn't believe it.
So when you do something right, you do something right.
And honestly, it allowed her.
You love what you do, so it shows.
Literally created all the next steps. Literally, like, if I can literally explain to you how, like, through that role, I met this person, then I got hired by Coca-Cola. And then with Coca-Cola, and in between Albertsons, Vons Pavilions, and Coca-Cola. I met a lot of people. And then, in that time, I met our CEO that I work for now. It's just one thing led to another, and it's been very very natural.
Yeah.
Very natural.
That's awesome.
Evolution, and grateful because literally it was the first president of Bonds at the time that promoted me. First woman president in the history of the company promoted me, who was I believe the youngest director. So I credit her for giving me that opportunity. A woman, first woman president, to say, hey, this young man, young Latino man is ready to be that role, take on that role, and so yeah, I don't forget that. I try my best to pay it forward.
Yeah. So the takeaways I'm getting out of this is it's the balance that counts, and don't burn your bridges.
No, man.
Don't burn your bridges.
To the best that you can do that. Not do that. I mean, I've been pretty fortunate. Most folks in my path were good, and sometimes you do have to move on, like we talked about earlier. I've had that too, but try to take the high road, and like I said earlier, treating everybody with respect, and always taking somebody's call if you can. Take the time to if they want to meet in person, do the best you can to be helpful. Yeah, it's important. I think it's especially important, I would say, tying it back to like your focus, to other men that are navigating, because a lot of times, you guys, you can tell me if you relate, like people see like the end product, who you are, where you're at today.
Yeah, they don't see the struggle.
They don't.
But that's what we were talking about earlier. People, we get a little bit more people now coming to light. Oh, okay, something's happening here, right? In the beginning, who cares? Don't talk to me about this. Who cares about this? Okay, I see something. Now they start scooting a little closer. Okay, I see where you're going. Maybe I can start, but I'm not there yet. I'll let you struggle. I'll let you, once you make it, that's when you can see people come to the light, I mean, like I said, that's when you have to build a relationship. Not just when you make it, it's when you're struggling, right? The struggle is when I think that's the biggest bond. When you're struggling, you see the bad, and then the bad is when the good, the good bond.
I remember to this day. To your point about struggling, the struggle, I must have ran out of gas in college, like at least a handful of times. And it was like always at the worst time. like one, it's like I'll give you one example. Well, I'll give you two. One, I ran out of gas. This was actually a good time, a good place. I ran out of gas at the gas station. and what did I do? I asked, hey, can I get a buck or two, whatever it was, just so I can get a gallon of gas to get home. I was just a few blocks from home. So I remember that, and somebody gave me literally just enough to buy a gallon of gas, which was like, wow. Like I don't know who they were, but I remember when that happened. Once I ran out of gas on my way to my wife's house. My in-laws, we were dating. My wife and I were dating in college. I ran out of gas on their block, and we were about to go out to dinner. I want to say it was Valentine's Day, because I remember I was wearing like a black shirt, like a red tie or something, and I was gonna take her to the Cheesecake Factory. I had like just enough money to like put I thought I had enough gas, and I had just enough money to like get to her house and get to the cheesecake, I thought, and buy something for her and us. And I remember feeling like crap. I pushed the car down the block, and she was like, "Don't worry about it. It's all right." And I didn't know she would be my wife. I mean, I was, really into her, but I didn't know. But now that she is my wife, thinking back, she's seen that. She's seen those struggles, and it humbles you. And so whenever if I happen to have cash, and if I see someone like is in a situation like that, I always and I would say my wife too, like we give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, of course.
You know, if they're looking for food, they're looking for some cash. You just never know what or shoes, like you said earlier. You never know what situation someone's in, and you know, my parents were kind enough to give me their old car, and I was helping pay my way through school, mostly books. Books was like my thing, and gas and food. So I ran out of gas, and that was my bad. I just ran out of money.
That
It teaches you
happens. She was down.
early on. You got a budget, you know.
There you go.
You better do. So we've been here for quite a while. Almost time to wrap up.
Yep.
With that being said, I want to thank you because you're taking your time. You weren't paid to come here. You weren't. You absolutely said yes as soon as I asked, and I really do appreciate that. It really means a lot to me because this is the ground right now. This is our not our bounce, but this is where we're barely getting started. We're trying to get things going to do great things, and people like you that are jumping on board right away without even asking any questions and just being down for the cause and down for what we're trying to do, and they see that. It means the world to me. And one thing that I've always said. One thing I've always told people, my close friends and the little bit of family I have, is the people that support me and that have my back, I give my life for them, and they know that. The people that are around me, they know that. It's not a question. So it really means a lot to me, and I thank you for taking your
My
time
pleasure, man.
coming in.
Yeah, thank you.
us.
And I'm gonna piggyback on that. Like I said, yeah, thanks. We're not, we're just growing. We're learning things, right? We're still in front of the camera.
You guys are doing
but we're
great.
not. So really
You guys are
appreciate
doing great.
it.
You are, man.
Like I said, even if we don't sound good, even if the podcast's not good, like we're in a mission, right, to get back to the community, empowerment, and even if we're uncomfortable doing it, it doesn't matter. We're still going to do it, and I think that's people need to see that, and I see that. Carlos sees it, and obviously you see that as well. So we're just uncomfortable, but it's things that we want to do, and then we're doing it. So here we go.
Well, hey, I'm a fan.
Appreciate
Guys.
that,
I'll be watching. I'll be tuning in.
Dude, when we get our bigger studio and we have everything done, you're going to be a welcome guest at any time. Anything you want to promote. I know you're doing a ton of great things in the community. We're here for you. And like I tell everybody in the meetings, use us. We're going to get our followers growing. I'll repost your stuff. We'll repost your stuff. Use us as a tool to help you be successful, not only for yourself, for your family, for your friends, people that are close to you. I know you have a few other guests you want to bring along. So
so
give them a shout out.
Stay tuned. I got some friends. I won't mention their names just yet.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they're going to say yes. They are individuals men that are doing great things in the community, connecting people, and I draw so much inspiration also from them when we're together. We're not together as often as we used to be. Just family. We've got other things going on, but when we're together, and we were together just a few weeks ago, and I went to an event downtown, and I left feeling so energized.
Oh, yeah.
It's very similar to like here, this space.
I know
and
you're
what you guys
talking
are
about
doing,
them. You were so pumped up. Dude, like I said, you're more than welcome here. I know we didn't get to a lot that we wanted to talk about.
It's all good, man.
But you're a welcome guest here.
You guys are doing great work. Like I said, it's more of this is needed.
Yeah, absolutely.
More of this is needed, and it's uncomfortable for many to open up. So I know you guys are going to make a difference, and I'm excited to see what's next, man.
Thank you.
Try our best.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, so thank you for being here. We'll go ahead and close it out. Again, if this comes out before our next off-campus meeting, August
16th. Yep.
UFC Poker Night. It's going to be a fun time. Reach out to us to get more information, get the details on that. But we'll be coming out with more podcasts in the future too. Again, if you want to be a guest, hit up Julio, hit myself up, DM us, reach out to us. Reach out to Carlos. He'll get you connected to us. It's a great time.
All right. That's it.
Bye, everybody.
Shoulders back, heads up.
Back, heads up.
All right, guys. You guys have a good one.